Okay, so today we're diving into a story about a death, but this is not your typical whodunit, not even close. It's really about the long shadow a family's pain can cast and a much bigger question. Who is really to blame when things just fall apart? Let's get into it. I mean, it's the question at the heart of every crime story, right? But what if the answer isn't just one person? What if it's something a lot messier? We're going to explore that exact idea, and the tragic story of the Ardanov family is going to be our guide. Our story kicks off, like so many do, with a family gathering. But this isn't your average get-together. This one sets the stage for a death that is going to unravel absolutely everything. So let's meet the patriarch, Viktor Ardanov. And let me tell you, he is not exactly a beloved figure. He's described as feared, despised, and just hollow. This is a man who treats love like a punchline and basically laughs at the very idea of morality. He's this dark sun that his entire family is forced to orbit around. And here are his three sons, each one like a whole universe of his own. You've got Mikhail, the eldest, who is just pure fire and fury. Then there's Leonid, the middle son, a man of cold, hard logic who sees emotion as a fundamental flaw. And then you have Alexei, the youngest, a gentle soul in a world that really has no room for it. So three very different men, all trapped in the exact same toxic orbit. One fateful night, all three of these sons show up at the family estate. And how does Victor greet them? With this little gem of biting sarcasm. Yeah, it's not a warm welcome. It's basically the opening shot in what's going to be a final, devastating battle of words. The tension is just immediate and completely suffocating. The argument that follows is just an explosion of old wounds. Mikhail is screaming about neglect, Leonid is dissecting his father's moral decay, but the moment that silences the entire room, it comes from the quietest son, Alexei. His accusation isn't shouted. It's this soft, sorrowful statement of fact that cuts deeper than any insult ever could. And, well, this is the result. The explosive confrontation ends, and the next morning, Viktor Ardanov is found dead in his study. So now the mystery is officially set. One dead father and three sons who all had a damn good reason to want him gone. So, with a body and a house full of suspects, the investigation begins. But as you can probably guess, the truth proves to be incredibly elusive. And this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because each brother's personality makes them a perfect suspect. You have Mikhail, the obvious choice with that explosive temper of his. Then there's Leonid, whose cold, intellectual distance is almost more suspicious. And even gentle Alexei. His overwhelming sorrow just seems like it's hiding something more. Leonid's perspective is just chilling. He doesn't show grief, he doesn't show anger. Instead, he treats his father's death like it's some philosophical problem that needs to be solved. This quote right here, it shows you just how detached he is. And it really makes you wonder, what is this guy actually capable of? So, despite the obvious motives flying all over the place, the official investigation just hits a dead end. There's no hard evidence, no confession, not a single clear witness. The only thing that grows in the town of Velinor is doubt. And that doubt, well, it begins to poison everything. Okay, this is the point where our story takes a pretty sharp turn. Because when a simple investigation fails, you have to start asking different kinds of questions. And this, right here, is the crucial point of the whole story. What if we've been asking the wrong question all along? What if the answer to who did it isn't a single name, but a collective failure? Let's break down this idea of shared guilt, because it's fascinating. Think of it like this. Mikhail's rage, that was the emotional fuel for the tragedy. Leonid's cold philosophy, well, that gave a kind of intellectual permission for it to happen. And Alexei's quiet inaction, his silence, that's what gave all that toxicity the space it needed to fester and grow. You see, they all played a part. And this is the moment where Leonid's entire fortress of reason just begins to crumble. The man of cold certainty, he confesses, not to the crime itself, but to the feeling of guilt. He can't remember if he did it, but he is tormented by the possibility. He's become the very thing he used to analyze from a safe, comfortable distance. This feeling actually has a name. The burden of doubt. For a guy like Leonid, not knowing is so much worse than knowing. The uncertainty becomes this psychological prison, a punishment more severe than any court could ever hand down. And Leonid isn't the only one. Mikhail is completely consumed by his rage, turning it inward on himself. Alexei is haunted by his sorrow and his inaction. All three of them are trapped, not by bars and laws, but by their own hearts and the roles they each played in this tragedy. So, if the guilt is shared, how does anyone ever find peace? The story's final act shifts focus, looking for resolution not through justice, but through understanding. It's Alexei, the quiet observer, who finally sees the deep, profound truth of it all. He realizes that focusing on who struck the final blow is completely missing the point. Their father's death wasn't just a single moment. It was a creation, something built over years and years of shared pain and dysfunction. And with that realization, Alexei does something truly radical. He goes back to the scene of the crime, and he offers forgiveness. Not because his father deserved it, not at all, but because it is the only way to break the cycle of hatred that has consumed all of them. It's an act of release, really. This tragedy leaves its mark on every single one of them. Mikhail becomes a wanderer, forever searching for something he'll probably never find. Leonid's cold certainty completely gives way to a more human, fragile doubt. And Alexei, he's the one who stays, having found a deeper, more complicated kind of truth right there at home. And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. The story leaves us with this powerful idea that the greatest tragedies aren't always the result of a single evil act. Sometimes they're the culmination of 1,000 small failures of love, of courage, and of understanding. It challenges us to look beyond the simple question of who and to start asking how and why. And that is a question that stays with you long after the story is over.